My parents are baby trapping me into an arranged marriage, but there's a huge secret about the baby that they don't know.
The baby is really good at juggling.
Some backstory. I got into an accident after college and will never be able to have kids. None of my family knows that I can't have kids. They know about the accident, but not about that specifically. I've always wanted to be child-free, so it didn't affect me much mentally.
So OP did it on purpose.
I have finished my master's degree last year, and I've never dated before. I got a very high-paying job directly through campus placements. My parents immediately wanted me to get married after getting a job, but I wanted to work on myself and explore a bit.
No.
Stop!
No self-development here, only children and babies.
Reproduce! All my life, I did what they wanted, and for the first time when I went against them, they were not happy. Last year, they gave up after COVID started. So I picked some dating apps and I went through them, but with no luck. Then my parents introduced me to family friend's daughter, and we kind of clicked.
Nice.
Kinda working out.
Hey, the old family matchmaker.
But looking back, I was a fool. She said yes to anything I said and never complained about anything. I kind of felt weird about it. I wanted her to express her interest, but she always said that she was interested in whatever I wanted to do.
I'm not trying to date someone that says yes all the time. If I wanted to do that, I would date ChatGPT because it will be like, actually, as a large language model, I can't answer that question. I'm like, damn, dude, finding hard to get ChatGPT.
That gets me going. Well, I didn't think much of it at the time. I said that I won't have kids ever, and she surprisingly said, okay.
Have a freaking opinion.
I was like, dang, she is probably the one. And as it's very hard to find a partner who is child-free in my country, or at least I thought. But we were in the initial stages and I had not told her about my accident. Long story short, we hooked up a month ago. I used protections because safety first. Now, the next day, she ghosted me a bit. I thought it was due to my performance in the sack, so I wanted to give her some space.
Yeah, maybe she's like, oh, that freaking Frankenstein of a sack. I don't know if I'm up for it.
Then she texted infrequently and replied with OKs and Ks and one-line answers. I thought maybe she wanted to end the relationship and was sad, but I just left it at that. Yesterday, all her family came to my house, and now she claims that she's pregnant and the father is me.
I think something's up.
All it was the protection magically didn't work, and he magically regained fertility. Needless to say, I freaked the F out and wanted to collapse on the ground. I did not say anything while they were talking about marriage and stuff that needs to happen because I got her pregnant. Please advise me on what steps to take. There is an update.
Okay.
What step would you take?
Instantly a freaking paternity test. Also, this snowball wonder is definitely not fertile, right? Is there something amiss, right?
Let's see what happens. Throw your predictions in the comment,
Yeah,
by the
what
way,
would you
guys.
do in this situation? Please let us know.
Let me start off by saying that I'm very grateful for all the Redditors who took time to read this and give me advice. I was overwhelmed by the amount of comments and how many of you said it might not even be my kid. Looking at it from a different perspective gave me much more insight onto the whole situation. I called my boss and took today off. I called up some clinics to get tested and was given a slot on Friday afternoon. Then I went to the store and bought some pregnancy tests and asked only her to come back to my place tomorrow. I also called my parents before I said anything, and my mom asked me if I had any good news. I was shocked by what she said, and I asked what exactly was she talking about?
Yeah, like, how do you know?
She then played dumb, and I knew the situation at that point was more effed than I had thought.
What's the situation? I'm not catching on yet.
Mom is in on it. I cut the call and cried all night till 3 a.m. A grown man crying for the first time since 8th grade. So she came this morning with her parents, even after I told her to come alone. They were under the impression that I was going to discuss the engagement plans with them.
Man, they're moving fast.
Reproduce! I told them to wait outside, and I called her in, and they threw a fit. I told them they can all go back or let her come in alone. They agreed. I took out the pregnancy tests and gave it to her and told her to prove that she was actually pregnant, and I told her where the bathroom was. She started screaming at me. She had never done this before. I was shocked at this. Then she went out the door and called her parents in. Now everyone is screaming at me in my own home because I asked her to prove the pregnancy, not even a DNA test. I told them to all go F off. And 1 hour later, my parents and them all came to my house and they spilled the beans. Ooh.
What are the beans?
She was never actually pregnant. My parents were afraid that I was getting too old for marriage and wanted me to marry and give them grandchildren.
Damn, dude. They're serious about this whole kids thing.
Reproduce.
They said that in arranged marriages, there's no need for the people to actually get to know the spouse because the parents only choose who is best for their kids. They planned all of this and were only waiting for me to hook up with her to do this. I broke down and cried again. All my life, I did exactly what my parents wanted. Always. I scored high. I never asked for anything. I told them to get out and to never talk to me again, in between crying. And they said parents know what's best for their kids. Then I got extremely angry and told them to F themselves in my native language, which was very bad.
Dang.
For once, I think they knew I was serious with them and they all left. I blocked them all before sending my parents a message to never contact me again in my life, even if one of you is dying. Oh my God.
That's
wow.
intense.
I cried for some more time, went through some dog videos, and went through all the messages on Reddit. And I feel like I owe you guys this update because it was you guys who helped me to do this. That is all for now. I hope you have a wonderful day. Whew, there is a final update. I want to thank you all for taking your time reaching out and giving advice. In the last few days, I feel like a burden was lifted off of me, especially from my parents who did always expect many things from me. The first day after the confrontation was an absolute crap show. My parents forced relatives to reach out to me, asking me to see reason. LMAO. I declined.
Are you kidding me? I feel like they're the ones that didn't see reason.
They stopped after 2 days after a harsh message from me requesting no contact. I also took appointments for family planning, vasectomy, which is next month. Some people asked if I would ever tell my family about this, but I will not. My body, my business. I will, of course, tell potential future dates that I am child-free and also had a vasectomy beforehand. Some people asked where I am. I am from India. Oh.
I'm sorry, OP. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Truly awful situation.
Got so manipulated.
Everyone listening, Sam, who's the a-hole? Like, what do you think of this whole situation?
Parents, a-hole.
Of course.
The girl's parents, a-hole.
And the girl,
a-hole. I mean, maybe there's something about like culturally we don't understand.
Yeah.
But this seems like pretty holy frickin' behavior.
Yeah.
All around. I sent my boss to the emergency room right when they were going to fire me. But what they said next, I never would have expected. I'm typing this from home as my work unexpectedly received a half day for my antics. So my boss and I have been having a little prank war. Nothing extravagant, nothing harmful, just fun little office pranks to keep spirits up.
Love it.
I work in corporate insurance, so most of my days are spent behind a desk, and it gets pretty boring at times. Well, my boss pranked me good last week with the help of an IT guy that sent an email, which the font size in the email slowly decreased, and then all of a sudden a picture of a baboon's ass popped up with a farting noise, which my boss made sure the sound was all the way up on my little desk speakers. This is such a Michael Scott boss.
Is this literally The Office?
Scared the crap out of me.
I could have dropped my croissant.
And made my coworkers laugh like hell. Anyway, I'm thinking about getting him back.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy works on the same floor, but has permission to come in a little earlier as he is in management and starts his projects before my coworkers come in. I go in early with him and let him know the master plan. So I brought a spider and some fishing line. The spider is a realistic looking model that I tied to the fishing line and placed above his desk on the ceiling, running the line with some cables on the ground and then behind a picture on the wall. The office ceiling is brown/black color, so unless you look really, really hard, you're not going to notice the spider.
Smart.
I feel like someone's going to get a heart attack. I don't know if you've ever seen that episode of The Office where Stanley gets a heart attack.
Oh,
You are black, Stanley! I'm gonna give him mouth to mouth.
no. That is my favorite episode of all time.
So good. I waited until after lunch to spring the trap.
Yeah.
I walked into his office. What's up, boss? Blah, blah, blah. He's sitting at his desk, prime position for a spider drop down.
Yeah.
So I go to tie my shoe and unhook the fishing line that I tapped to the leg of his desk. I started lowering the spider. Eventually, the spider comes down and touches his nose. He starts freaking out, falls out of his chair, clutching his chest, gasping for air. I just kind of stood there. Oh my God, this really is.
This is really
This is The
happening.
Office, bro.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
I just kind of stood there in shock, like, shit. anyway, the paramedics come.
Wow.
I bet you this boss had a heart attack.
Dude,
No
that got
way.
so out of hand so quickly.
My other manager releases us for the day, and here I am realizing I might have killed my boss. And we're not done yet.
I mean, best way to get a promotion, honestly.
So I will begin where I left off yesterday. Paramedics loaded my boss onto a wheeled stretcher and put him in the back of an ambulance to go off to the hospital. I seriously thought that he was in big trouble because the paramedics were treating him like he was having a severe heart attack. He looked like he was on the verge of dying as they loaded him up. Anyways, afterwards, my other manager tells us all to go home. It was Labor Day, so there weren't that many people working. I go home and am freaking out, nervous as hell, until my manager called me and told me my boss was stable, but it was close. Come in tomorrow for a 10 a.m. We need to have a discussion.
Oh my God.
I don't know. What do you think's going to happen?
I mean, did someone like rat him out?
At this point, I'm freaking out because I'm thinking, shit, I'm going to get fired over a stupid ass spider prank. I get into work about 9:50 and I make the dreaded trip up to my desk. At this point, everyone in the office knew that I basically killed our boss, and literally everyone stopped to stare at me.
Oh.
I just kind of tried to keep my head down as I was thoroughly embarrassed. Got to my cubicle and my manager was already standing there. Don't put your stuff away. This will only take a moment.
What a tragic sentence to hear.
He takes me back to my boss's office, which I thought was where he was going to ask what the spider on the fishing line was doing there. And then after I answered, fire me immediately.
Basically.
Well, let's see what happened.
Yep.
So door was already open. And after I walk in, my manager tells me to take a seat. And then he closes the door after I step in. He stayed out. So I guess there's an empty office. I sat down pretty much sweating out of my clothes. And all of a sudden, to add insult to injury, my boss sneaks up behind me and yells, "Thought I was dead, huh?"
Gotta get it back at least, right?
What a legend. At this point, I'm relieved, terrified, and just generally shook. And he sits me down and tells me how he did it. Apparently, the manager, my buddy from the last post that let me in early on Labor Day, told him about the entire plan. My boss knew about the spider and pretty much planned around my move. The effer literally let a bunch of workers have a half day to foil my prank and got his EMT buddy to make a quick stop by to treat his heart attack, quote unquote.
No.
I'm never pranking my boss again. On a good note, I'm not fired.
Wow. I mean,
That is an insane prank.
the
war.
level of prank to get a fake paramedic. That, like, how does that even work? Like, are you allowed to just be like, oh, hey, boss, I'm just taking a swing around the neighborhood real quick with the old ER
I guess
paramedic
so.
car? What do you call it? The ambulance.
Ambulance.
I almost called it a paramedic car.
Hey, that works too.
That works too. Wow.
But that's also, I love how intense the boss is about these pranks that he will literally have people take a half day to make the prank come alive.
I mean, honestly, like, shout out to that. That sounds like a fun boss. Like,
Yeah.
terrifying to work for, but not for like the wrong reasons at
Yeah.
least, right?
Yeah, I guess. My racist mother won't let me have kids with my boyfriend, but what she asked next was even worse. I, female 22, have been dating my boyfriend, Luca, male 23. For a little context, Luca is infernal. Luca not shooting bullets anymore.
His gonads said stop.
And the chances of us having our kids are extremely low. I'm well aware of this, and it truly doesn't bother me. I have also never really wanted kids, especially at a young age. Luke and I are on the same page, and we want to live our 20s free of the responsibilities kids bring, so we've been raw-dying it every day. My family, on the other hand, does not agree with our way of thinking. I am the only child and the only one left to continue the bloodline. In my dad's words, we were having dinner and the conversation over dinner was going well until my mom and grandma brought up the conversation of marriage and children. They asked when we plan to get married and we said, it's not really our priority. Mind you, we had just begun our careers and are in no financial state to even consider a wedding. My mom's rebuttal to my statement was that she would cover any expenses, which also meant she would control everything. I said firmly, no thanks, we'll wait. They also discussed kids and said we'd have to have them quickly because my fertility clock is a ticking. How early you want to have them, bro? Luca told them that it was okay, because actually he was infertile.
Bomb drop.
My mom goes, so you won't be giving me proper grandchildren? She then goes, and I quote, I already accepted that my grandchild won't be pure with your genes, and now you say you can't have it at all? I blew up and asked what she meant by pure, and that she was being completely disrespectful to us. Luca is Cuban and has a darker complexion, which my family seems to find issue with. Damn, racist family. God. I've come to find out that they have been bad-mouthing us behind our backs. She said that we have never had a mixed child in the family. Bro, you all mixed up in the head. Luca then asked if we were to have a kid, would they not love it because it wouldn't be white? They called him rude for insinuating such a thing.
Whoa. What?
Oh, yeah, he's the rude one.
Lucas just picking up what you're putting down. I backed him up and said if we have kids or not is up to us, and told them that they were out of line. She also added that if we adopt, we'd ruin our family tree and it wouldn't be legit. I stood up and left with Luca, ending the conversation with you're a bunch of effed up assholes. That night, I received a text from my mom. She started by saying I was ungrateful and I am a disgrace to the family.
There's this little thing called a mirror, lady.
Yeah, look in it. She's saying I should be ashamed of how I spoke to her and that she deserves an apology. She called me after I left her on red and said I'm being brainwashed by Luca. She says she can arrange an artificial insemination with one of her friend's white sons. I called her a lunatic and said she was I called her a racist who I'm frankly ashamed to call my mother. She cried and hung up, and I received a text from dad saying I took it too far. I'm not allowed back in their home if I don't plead for their forgiveness and oblige by their standards. I replied, F you, and blocked them both. There's also an update. So please tippy tap. What do you think? Is OP the a-hole? Want to know your opinions on this, but John, what do you think?
At the end of the day, if your parents are not going to accept your partner, the person you love, A, for who they are, and then B, their children because they're racist, until they actually like sit down and like admit their wrongs and find their faults and like try and grow from it. Hey, all right, give them a chance to grow. Sure.
Yeah, but they're still asking for an apology for them.
Oh,
so they don't even realize they effed up.
So they're so far gone.
First, thank you for the supportive advice and sweet words. I showed Luca the post and he sat there reading and dying at some of the responses. He has never liked my family, to be fair, but put up with them for me. I'd choose him over them any day of the week. We also informed his mom, whose English isn't the best, we had to translate it, and she said that I have a family with her and to forget about mine. That's actually really sweet.
That is sweet.
She is the true definition of a good mother and has shown me more unconditional love than my mother has in 22 years of my life. She's also been teaching me Spanish and how to cook Cuban food, which is kind of giving a light in this whole situation. I've gone completely no contact with my family as of today. This incident occurred about a week ago. Luke and I have been looking for a place together, and my family will not be knowing where that is. An update on the situation, my cousin, mom's side, who's a put nicely, seemed to have found out my post and sent it to my parents and aunt. Frankly, I don't give a because I kind of hoped they'd see the comments. They told her to tell me I was being an entitled and that I shouldn't add fuel to the fire. They said that what they said isn't wrong in their eyes, and the comments made them cry. They still don't understand how how do they not know? They added, how could I respect them when they raised me to be who I am, which is a load of BS. I'm nothing like my parents, thank God, and learned to make my own choices as a teen. My cousin told me I was a traitor and to go to hell. I told her I just left hell and I don't plan on going back. Mic drop. What do you think? Did OP go too far? Did OP not go far enough? Put your answers in the comments. But John, bring us home. Is OP the a-hole?
OP, absolutely not the a-hole at all. I mean, look, one adjustment you could say, like, if you ever want to be in my life again, you need to come back with a full apology and actually be ready to understand why you're so wrong, why you're racist.
But I think it's also important to realize that, like, racism is a product of their environment. These people may have never known the error of their ways until their daughter brought this new person into their lives. And that doesn't mean you have to be there for their education.
Yeah.
If they apologize and learn, you can leave that door open, but it also is not something that you have to do either.
Shout out to you, OP.
It turns out my sister is actually my mom. I thought that was the biggest lie until I found out who my father was. My sister, 40 female, has been ignoring me, 21 mail for 5 months since finding out that Grace is not my sister. She's my biological mom, and after finding this out, my whole life has been an effing mess. My parents pretended to be my parents because from what they told me, it was better that way for everyone since Grace wasn't ready to be a mom. I've been wanting to hear her side ever since, but she decided to block me. My parents, quote unquote, have not talked to her because Grace wants to drop this and not bring this to her husband. So her husband doesn't know. They live in another state, so they're not close at all, but she basically didn't want this getting to her husband. I kept asking her to please just sit down with me once so I could hear her side.
A fair request. It's like, hey, you know that lie you told me in my whole life? Can I just understand what's going on?
But she's been silent ever since. Why I'm asking if I'm the a-hole is because the other weekend, me and my cousin had beers at his house. Me being drunk as fuck. I started crying about everything going on, and he asked me what's wrong. And so I told him everything. Shit blew up. Oof. Nobody in my family knew about this.
That's an insane secret to keep.
For like 9 months, did they just hide Grace away while she was pregnant?
Yeah, you're right.
Like, how did they hide that?
Oh, Grace, she's
getting fat. He texted his mom that same night. Next morning, I'm waking up to everyone blowing up my phone, even my quote unquote parents too. Now, everybody in the family knows that they've even reached out to Grace on my behalf, telling her if I want to talk to her, that she at least owes me that. I feel like the cousin, like a little breach of trust. The whole thing couldn't be kept a secret from her husband. He knows now too, because she called my parents crying that they had a big fight. He's so mad that he's staying at his parents. She's saying it's my fault for not letting it go. How can OP let this go? It's his whole life. Come on.
God.
And now it seems like everything in her life is falling apart, including my parents, because everyone's coming down on them too for lying this whole time. I know none of that would have happened if it hadn't been for me saying something, but also I feel that after I was the one who got lied to, I was owed some answers. So, am I the a-hole? There's an update to the story, but John, what do you think?
Not the a-hole at all. I think, like you said, the cousin who spilled the beans, you can put some a-hole points on him.
I would love to know what everyone else thinks, because that's a little bit more of a gray area.
And then, obviously, the mom is the a-hole. And I'll give it to the grandparents. A-hole, too. They knew the whole time and never revealed it. I think, if anything, they should have been like, we're telling him at 18.
Well, has gotten really crazy since the last post. I appreciate everyone saying that this was my truth to tell and being really supportive of everything going on. I told my family to back off on Grace because even though they had good intentions defending me, it still wasn't okay. My cousin also apologized too. So the craziness that happened. Grace's soon-to-be ex-husband literally flew over to talk in person, telling me he thinks that he's my dad.
Oh.
He told me about what him and Grace talked about when he left. How does he not know? Thing is, they were a couple before I was born, broke up because he was going to college far away. Then years later, they met again and so on, and I never knew this. He didn't connect the dots because who would? But since he learned she's my mom and she went this far to hide it, he wanted to know for sure. We both cried after doing a paternity test that came back positive.
Oh.
We didn't talk for a day. After I went through another whole-ass existential crisis for days, we met again. He told me he's sorry for not knowing because he would have taken responsibility of me if Grace didn't want that. Then we both cried again. I finally talked with her too once this was all out. She was the one who reached out to me, so I don't need to say I bullied her into it. Her truth was she wasn't ready to be a single mom. My grandparents supported her terminating, at least they were honest about that, but she changed her mind and still didn't tell him. She never thought she'd see him again anyway. By the time they met and restarted their relationship, it was already a few years since she gave me to my grandparents, so to her, there wasn't a point to tell him anymore. Also because she knew he was going to want custody if he knew I'm his son, and she moved on from the thought of having kids. Their relationship basically wouldn't have survived, and now it hasn't. He's so mad at her because he had a right to be in my life.
Right.
It's just a mess.
Yeah.
I'm mad / hurt they kept us from knowing about this. Now she says she's sorry, but after learning how far this lie went, I can't with any of them right now. To her or my grandparents, it's just too much. I know they keep reaching out to apologize for everything, but it's just too painful. Small bright side though. Me and him are talking. It was weird as first, but we are getting more used to it. He's known me since I was like 9. I know he's a good guy. He just never thought he was my biological dad. And he really seems like he wants us to be closer than before. I can tell it hurts him too when he's looking at me. It's sad. So for now, we're going to try to go with the flow. Going to be needing some serious therapy after this. There's so much going on in my head, but at least I've got something.
Woo.
Okay. I need to know what you think. Who's like the biggest a-hole in the story?
Yeah.
Is it Grace at 18? Is it the parents or the grandparents for hiding this whole thing? Is it the cousin? Who do you think is the biggest asshole at play? Or is it someone I didn't mention? I would love to know what the order of the assholes are.
Yeah.
But John, what do you think?
I'm just kind of confused. Why I guess she said that Tim would want custody if he knew. But I'm like, why didn't you tell him? Because they split amicably, it sounds like, just because of like location, essentially. This is his child. This was half of his result of his actions too. So it's like, I feel like it's also his responsibility.
Yeah. It's a weird decision.
Police bust down I'm cheating on my husband with his mistress's husband. After what happened next, things got even messier. I, female 36, and my husband, male 38, have been together for 10 years.
Too long.
We have one daughter who's female 6. She's everything to me. And I found out a year ago that my husband is sleeping with his employee.
That is a workplace violation.
HR not gonna like this one.
Unless it is with HR.
And she's female 30. Her husband, let's call him Jay, male 35, contacted me about this. He was heartbroken and he thought that I ought to know.
Oh, my heart cracked.
He provided me with text messages and dates when they had been in hotels together. I recognized my husband's style and I recognized the other woman. I asked the guy who told me, Jay, what he wanted to do, and he said that he wasn't sure yet, so I requested that we meet. He agreed.
What do you want to do, Jay?
If I divorce now, I will not be able to provide for my daughter. That would probably put her in my husband's custody as a primary provider. Yeah, that's bad. I asked him if he could wait a few months, and to my surprise, he agreed.
That's also really awkward that they kind of have to like fake it for months.
Dude.
I'll be like, honey, how was work? Did you fuck anyone there?
Also, the other woman has 3 children from a previous relationship, and he was worried that she would refuse him being in their lives once he confronted her because he's not the father.
Oh, that's so sad.
Golly. We kept in touch, however. He called me a few times a week, and soon we started to talk about other things other than our failed marriages.
Ooh,
like how to
what?
make one successful, baby. Afterwards, we started going for walks, coffee, movies, etc. And I found myself thinking about him often with a smile on my face. He was the first thing I thought about in the morning and the last thing I thought about before going to bed.
And in the middle, I thought about my cheating husband.
For the last 3 to 4 months, we probably mentioned our spouses just once or twice. We talk about everything else. And he always makes me laugh and thinks I'm funny too. Smiley face. 2 weeks ago, we were having a picnic and he just blurted out, I think I'm in love with you.
Wow.
Oopsie.
That's surprising. Maybe this is the pre-bang I love you.
That's a pretty strong I love you right there.
Yeah.
Better than, right after.
Or it's like, I love you. Now let's do it.
I love you, so I deserve it now, right? Right. Say yes. Okay. When he then explained himself, it just drove the point home that I am also in love with him. He said that at first he wasn't sure why he was feeling like this towards me and explained it away as 2 jilted people finding comfort in each other. But then he realized he wasn't broken anymore, that he even thinks of my wife's infidelity as a blessing because it led him to me. And that was exactly how I felt too. I didn't know what to say. I told him that I'm terrified that these are false feelings that would go away once we freed ourselves from those who hurt us. He just beamed at me and said he was willing to take the risk to find out. He kissed my hand because, I thought we were still married, and if we did something, then how are we better than our significant others? I don't know what to do now. I find myself daydreaming about him, introducing him to my daughter, kissing him.
Ooh, steamy.
Waking up next to him every single morning.
What if he has a micro penis, though? Would you still love him?
Answer.
Be honest. And his tongue game weak. Be honest.
I still have 1 semester left of school, and then I'm probably going to find a job. I've already had some offers for when I finish up my studies. I've thanked Jay so many times for being so patient with me about everything. I appreciate that he's waiting for me to put my life in order before we expose our spouses who aren't really seeing each other as often as they used to. He told me he's happy to help, and he just wants a real kiss as a thank you when everything is over.
Damn.
Kind of cute.
Man wants it.
Kind of cute. cute.
Kind of cute.
My goal now is to secure my job and leave this marriage. Am I pathetic for wanting to give Jay a shot and see where it would go? Can two broken hearts really find happiness together when their love story started like ours? When I got home, my husband had already picked up our daughter and they were just joking around and having fun. I felt so much sadness and pure horror building up inside me. What am I doing? What are we doing? All of us.
I'm so concerned. I'm like on the edge of my seat.
The guilt that washed over me seeing my daughter's happy face playing around with her food, I couldn't take it. I looked at my husband and tried to remember what I loved about him, but I couldn't. All I could see was his text to her about how great last time was and what he wanted to do to her next. Heartbreaking. For over 2 months now, he's been trying to open the subject of our non-existent sex life, but I just told him that I don't have a drive or that I was busy, this being the last year of my studies.
I wonder if they had a sex life beforehand. Not that obviously it's like her fault, but I wonder if like he was like, oh damn, like I'm not getting anything with the old missus.
I mean, I'm guessing since he's approaching her about it, that it's like
that it has
that
petered
indicates
off. So it probably was
right?
fine beforehand, and then it petered off once she knew.
At minimum, probably safe to assume a difference, which
yeah.
I've been able to keep him at bay, and while my explanations and excuses weren't making him happy, they were good enough to keep him away. That was until about a week ago when he wanted to discuss this seriously. Oh, don't tell me he cannot dump her. That cannot be it. He then said something that triggered every nerve in my body. Something like it was not healthy for a marriage when one partner neglects the other because you start looking somewhere else.
Oh, man.
Oh, hubby, you do not know the ammo she has for you.
Holy shit.
I just said that it wasn't true because you started sleeping with her way before I started neglecting you. That's it. The cat's out of the bag, buddy.
Damn. Okay. So basically she was like, you know, they were having a fine sex life. And then she's like,
well, not recently.
Yeah, I know. But they were like everything was fine until she found out that he was sleeping with someone else. And then she's like, I don't really want to do it anymore.
Yep.
He's sleeping with this other person. So he doesn't care. Now that relationship is petering out and he's like, oh dude, where's my nut?
Yeah.
Where's my nut?
What are you, a damn squirrel? That's you, a rodent. After I said this, he was in total shock. First, he tried to know more. Maybe he misheard me. Then he started to deny it. Then made excuses. Then started apologizing. Then he started asking for details and what my plans were. Man, we are going through all 7 phases.
All the stages of grief. Damn.
When I told him about me getting a job in an apartment, he started pleading, trying to hold me.
Ooh, I don't know. I think you done yourself, buddy.
Now, my new man, Jay, is in the process of his divorce too. He has moved back to his hometown because his mother is very ill, I'm afraid.
Oh.
His sisters live in Australia, but they've both come home, so it feels good that he and his mother are not alone. I visited them 3 times since I heard the sad news, but he does live far away, so I haven't been able to stay for long periods to support them. Jay lives in another town, about an 8 hours drive away. We haven't talked about us in ages. We have a lot going on in our lives separately. All I care about right now is his mom doing better, or at least not suffering.
Wait, we're going to stop before the 2 lovers get together? You know, tell me there's more.
We have nothing.
You're
We have nothing
kidding
left.
me, John. Oh my God.
We have nothing left.
My balls are blue.
We know where we're at here. So
I'm pissed.
ladies and gentlemen of the comment section, I'm actually curious. OP was pretty classy, but was there any a-hole moves in the execution? Sam. Who were the A-holes?
You want to talk to me more now? You don't want to finish the rest of the story? I mean, okay, like 2 cheats don't make a good relationship. So like, I feel like probably would have been best to come clean right away and say, hey, we know.
Basically, it seems she was in jeopardy of losing custody.
No,
And
you're
that's the
right.
worry, right? It's tricky.
That is tricky.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she was like emotionally cheating, even though she wasn't physically cheating.
Right.
I don't think OP's the a-hole necessarily, but probably should have broken up with her current boyfriend before she became emotionally invested in this guy.
I would be curious. I really know nothing about custody laws and like how those things typically work.
I could imagine she would get some kind of child support.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a pick your poison. Either get into the relationship with Jay sooner and risk losing custody, or risk the new relationship with Jay, which at this point it hasn't quite developed, but stay with your
It's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
It's a tricky situation.
Definitely a pick your poison.
What poison would you pick?
Jay or kid?
Today I effed up by agreeing to watch my friends do it in front of me. A few nights ago, I, 22 male, showed up at my friend's 25 male flat to watch him do it with his girlfriend, 22.
Okay.
It was an unforgettable experience for all the wrong reasons. Doing it in front of someone else was a fantasy my friend and his girlfriend wanted to explore.
Okay.
But to complete the package, the two of them had to be more than two. My name was apparently the only name that managed to get 2 unanimous yes votes from my friend and his girlfriend during their selection process.
Wow, what an honor. I would like to thank the Academy.
I'd like to thank my mom and my dad.
Yeah. You guys gave me what they want.
I leaned towards saying no when my friend offered me the uncomfortable position of being the other person. But I accepted the role because my friend played his "you owe me" card. I made it sound like it would be over in less than 10 minutes, which hopefully. I had one job: enjoy the show. But without touching my friend or his girlfriend, my presence was the only purpose.
Okay.
When I entered my friend's bedroom and approached my designated chair, I was prepared for an awkward night. My friend and his girlfriend are attractive people, but I've never been keen to see them in the flesh, let alone active in that way. As soon as the kissing and touching turned into stripping and sucking, I was struggling to contain my laughter. It was a nervous reaction that was out of my control due to the unusual situation that was also unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
And let OP go into the reasons that it was unintentionally funny.
Okay.
Exhibit A. My friend was quiet. Too quiet.
I like this.
This is so good. Do it to me, baby.
Show me what you got.
Mimes made more noise than him. Exhibit B. My friend's girlfriend must have been under the impression that I was a talent scout because literally any random touch from my vocally challenged friend, like his knuckle brushing against her knee or whatever, would prompt her to bite her bottom lip and moan like she was tasting a delicious dish from a television commercial. Baby. Oh, those knuckles.
The chocolate mousse.
Exhibit C. My friend was unable to get a pivotal part of his anatomy to rise to the occasion because he focused too much of his attention on me when he noticed that I was fighting the urge to laugh.
Oh.
I did my best to avoid eye contact since I was supposed to be watching something purposefully hot, not accidentally hilarious.
Oh.
Mid PB&J. My friend asked me what was so funny, which is not what you want to happen when you're in the throes of passion.
God.
I apologized and said my reaction was nothing more than nervous laughter, which was 90% true.
Yeah.
The other 10% of me was trying not to laugh at my friend being dead quiet while his girlfriend was gunning for the best over-the-top performance at the Academy Awards. When my friend's girlfriend realized that I was indirectly distracting my friend, she unexpectedly wiggled.
Uh-oh. What are we wiggling?
She unexpectedly wiggled my friend's flaccid dong and said, "Erecto Patronum." That broke me, and I laughed uncontrollably.
Oh my, that is hilarious.
That is so funny.
Wow.
But it's not over yet, folks.
Okay. Keep it coming. Pun intended.
My friend got annoyed and said, "Look what you've done."
Look what you did.
I thought he was talking to his girlfriend, but it quickly became clear that he was actually talking to me. Based on his feedback, my childish reaction motivated his girlfriend to incorporate inappropriate Harry Potter humor when he was feeling vulnerable. He blamed me for everything that didn't go according to plan, including the fact that he was struggling to get it up.
Oh.
By the time he was done branding me the bad guy, he was dressed and no longer interested in continuing. Oh, God. Hey, someone's got to finish the work.
Come on. Yeah.
If Harry Potter ain't up for the job, maybe Ron Weasley can slip in.
Oh, not Ron Weasley. Weaseling something else.
I apologized again and explained that it was never my intention to laugh or become a distraction. It was involuntary. My friend suggested that we continue the conversation the next day. That was 3 days ago. My friend is still not responding to my messages or answering my calls. I get that I should have done a better job at being serious, but I don't understand how all of this is on me. Anyway, never watching any of my friends do it again.
You did this to yourselves.
Yeah, this is a very touchy situation. And I think there is a litany of ways that watching your friends do it in front of you could go wrong, and only like one or two where it could go right. And even then, it's just weird. You open yourself up to a lot of exposure.
To say the least.
To say the least. So, John, I want to know, would any of you do this, you little freaks out there?
I have to imagine.
What should OP have done?
OP should have unbuckled that sweet python. No, I'm just kidding.
Sausage, yeah.
Not have done it. What was this favor that was owed? The whole time.
I know.
The whole time I was sitting here, he's like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to break. Bro, you did not have to be there.
You should not have been there.
Like the friend is like, oh, why'd you laugh? Why'd you ruin the bro? He had no obligation. I need to know what the favor was.
Yeah,
need to know that.
Maybe it was that OP's friend watched him and his girlfriend do it.
A tit for tat.
Tit for tat.
You know,
a tit for tat.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I won $480,000 in the lottery years ago. I never told my husband, but he just found out.
That is a huge secret.
The lottery winning took place back in August of 2014. Mike and I were married in October of 2014. It wasn't a fortune, but enough to make a difference.
So she basically had all that money before they officially got married. So technically it is completely hers.
3 months. After taxes, it came out to right around $480,000. Most people would be over the moon, but I panicked.
Why?
Because I didn't want our life to turn upside down because we had extra money now.
I feel like that's upside up, man.
I was still legally single at the time, and so I was able to accept it anonymously without the need to tell anyone else, so I didn't. Not a single soul. Not my husband, not my parents, siblings, best friends, etc., etc. Only the state and federal governments. Now, my husband has a tendency to spin on things we don't need and that aren't going to benefit us in the long run.
So the husband's an overspender.
So I didn't want our money to be blown quickly on stupid stuff like cars and clothes. I opened up a bank account with a national credit union and put the check in it. I got started with a financial advisor, Keith, who guided me into investing in local businesses and real estate. Pretty good move.
Safe move.
And that is that. It's been sitting there just growing. Flash forward to today. I'm doing dishes, getting ready to start making dinner, and my phone rings. I can't get to it, but I figure I'll call him back. Then I get a text. No big deal. I'll get to it in a minute. But my husband came into the kitchen and glanced at my phone to let me know who texted and called me, which he always does when my hands are full. It's Keith. He called and texted me to let me know that my account just hit $1 million after one of the energy companies I invested in soared up recently.
Oh my God. OP's a millionaire.
My husband is stunned. He has no clue what to even say, staring at me until he says, "We have $1 million?"
Honey, I have $1 million. You have jack.
I was so flushed, but I finally just sat him down and explained the situation. He's clearly mad at me for never telling him. He asks if my family knows, and I tell him that no one knows except for the IRS and Keith. So it took him a few hours to finally be able to really talk to me. At the end of the silence, he told me that he's proud of me for investing it into our future, but he needs a few days to clear his head because he feels like I hid a huge part of myself from him.
True.
We might just need to take a vacation now. There's some edits. Okay, gang, I'm checking in with you. Would you have told the partner or no? Sam.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of complication here because like rule 1 of winning the lottery is don't tell anyone. But also one of the rules of having a marriage is probably like don't keep secrets and communication. So there's two rules.
Which is a big secret.
A little bit.
Two great principles completely conflicting each other at the moment.
Yeah. So maybe OP's a little the a-hole for not letting her husband know. I think the husband's taking it pretty well for all things considered.
We'll give our final verdict at the end.
Yeah.
Let's do that. My husband and I just spoke on the phone for about an hour. He's told me he's staying with his best friend / coworker tonight, but that he's not angry. He agreed that he would have spent the money on dub things if he had won it, and he's happy that I did put it away. A little less happy that I didn't tell tell him about it for so long, but he said he doesn't care and doesn't want it to get in the way of our marriage. Update number 2. I did not know this would blow up so much. I've been at work talking to my husband, Mike, all day, basically laying down some ground rules for the money moving forward. He will not tell anyone, didn't even tell his friend, and we will only dip into it for emergencies and pre-discussed things. A few people asked in the comments how much we make a year. I guess to see where we'd be without the money. I currently make around 60K. Mike makes more at around 85K. So all the ones saying that I starved him or made him scrounge, that's not true. We make a good amount. Okay, what would you have done in OP's shoes when receiving the money? And do you think that OP was the a-hole or not for not telling?
I stand by my initial thing. I think OP's a little bit the a-hole for not telling initially. I think a husband is taking it extremely well. And I think OP is doing everything right afterwards.
Also, to her credit, it could be very easy to start like getting into stocks and other things, which could be fine, but definitely still risky. But yeah, in hindsight, kind of like listening to the story, it feels like it probably would have been better to sit down and tell him about the money. I'm going to go a little the a-hole too.
Yeah, a little the a-hole, but like minorly.
Minor.
I refuse to talk to my disabled girl because it's hard and it takes too long. I, 30s female, have been married to Buford, 40s male, for about a year.
Not feeling the name, but okay.
I brought Jay, 8 male, and Juniper, 5 female, from a past marriage. And until very recently, we thought Buford had no children.
Not Buford.
We had no intentions of having more kids. As it happens, though, turns out Buford actually does have a daughter, Marquita, 15 female.
Oh.
Her mom did not tell Buford about her pregnancy and ultimately moved states, so he had no idea until she reached out to him on Facebook.
Wow. Okay.
We were a little dubious, but she turned out to be right.
Wow.
Marquita and mom moved back to our state in the meantime and live about 40 minutes from us. She wants visitation with Buford, which he has agreed to do. There's no formal custody arrangement between Buford and mom, so it's basically just sporadic weekends and school holidays. Usually this is just between the two of them, but sometimes she will come to the house and has even slept over a few times. Getting a little saucy.
Huh?
Here's my dilemma. Marquita is hearing impaired. I'm not entirely sure what degree, but I do know she almost exclusively uses ASL, which I imagine then it's probably a harsh degree.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the family also doesn't know ASL?
No one in our family knows ASL.
Aha.
But Buford has been trying to learn from her. The last time Marquita was here, he pitched to me the idea of us learning ASL as a family. Fun little family thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
The truth is, I really don't know if it's worth the effort.
Uh-oh.
Marquita is present at our house maybe once a month. I would consider it if she were going to be over more often, but I work 48 hours a week and I just don't have time for something like this. I also know 3 different languages, one of which was in adulthood, and it was very difficult for me even 15 years ago. I just can't fit something like that into my life. But I told Buford that Jay and Juniper can still learn if they're interested. The kids don't want to, since I'm not, and now Buford thinks I'm being ridiculous since I have no other way of communicating with Marquita. Marquita also thinks I should learn some basic signs, but between work and kids, even that would be a struggle. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to learn sign language for Buford's random kid?
Bro, shout out to Buford.
Buford.
It was so hard for me to not just like laugh every time. Okay, interesting. I feel like this is going to be maybe one of the split ones,
I think so too. Let me pitch you this. I want to know what everyone else thinks. Would they learn sign language? Would they not? But let's say you're married.
Yep.
Your wife finds out she has another kid.
Yep. Oh my.
Right? Kid only speaks Spanish.
Right.
Kid and the dad in your house, sporadic weekends and holidays. Are you obligated to learn Spanish?
No, not obligated to learn the language. I would try and do either like a Duolingo or, there's like, I've seen some like kind of like 1-day crash courses or something like that to get like not proficiency by any means, but to get kind of like a bare bones, like of what are the absolute most common phrases. That's what I would do. So that way for the big things I could communicate. And then also like I would learn it, in that thing. And then it would be reinforced by communicating
every
that
time
with her.
they come
I
back.
think that is good because then you could do just the bare like, oh, like here's this.
And you can do like 5 minutes a day on the toilet or something. It's like, think of it as like a brain training exercise.
Yeah.
She's not necessarily obligated to do it, but I actually think peeling it back a layer.
Yeah.
I think she's more like, what the fuck is this weird situation that I didn't sign up for?
Yeah,
I think
that's totally fair.
I think that's what she's more concerned about, and it's coming out as like
that.
I don't want to learn this other language. It is a jarring situation to be a part
My
of.
God,
where
it
another
is.
woman is in your house from this guy, you know.
He has a kid that you didn't know about. Is 15 years old. That to me is like my job was on the floor for that, and she's like making it all about I don't want to learn a language. I'd be like, yo,
Bro, why is this woman in our house?
You know, just like shocked.
Yeah.
You know.
So what would you say? Apple or not Apple for not learning sign language?
Not Apple.
I agree, not Apple.
Right on the line, I would do bear, a little bit. But tell us what you guys think.
Yeah.
Maybe we're totally
off base.
Let us know.
And the thing is, I don't care if my sister is special needs. I'm not going to help her. Am I the a-hole?
Sam, sometimes there are things that just seem so obvious, so painfully obvious.
Yeah, just don't take care of her.
So simple.
Yeah, it's like what they did in Rome. Just left him in the forest. My younger sister is 35. Growing up, both my parents were in complete denial about the fact she was borderline special needs, and mom insisted she was very clever with an IQ of 110 that she managed to pull out of a psychologist. The truth is that my sister is below average intelligence, nowhere close to 110 or even 100. Well, a couple of years ago, my parents finally acknowledged my younger sister has mild special needs. At 32, she is fully able-bodied, can work, take care of herself, just not the brightest, and has to do similar work. Fast food server, or maybe easier data entry or filing. The company responded with a long letter of their own detailing all that happened, mostly saying younger sister refused to do very basic requests. Example, please stick the red stamp on the square envelope and the blue stamp on the rectangle envelope.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like stamps.
I don't like instructions.
What?
And neither did the sister, because she disliked instructions. This is true. Growing up with younger sister, my parents 100% backed her up for everything she did, and she became incredibly entitled and selfish. She has never been disciplined, never had to face consequences. I was often told everything younger sister did was on me and got punished in her place. In recent years, it's becoming glaringly obvious my parents expect me to take care of younger sister and live with her for the rest of her life, looking after her as she is not allowed to work unless the employer makes her happy and agrees to our terms and conditions because she has special needs.
How do the parents go from no acknowledgement to like,
You can take care of her.
you have to take care of her for the rest of your life? Like, I just,
Seems a little ridiculous.
yeah.
Also, this reminds me, this is kind of bad, but there was this really good looking girl that one of my friends was living with. Like stunning, a beautiful girl. Through living with her, she like thought she was just like normal, just like a little spacey, but then she found out later that she was like special needs and just was like so pretty that she could just get through life pretty easily, but was like actually mentally handicapped.
The Arrested Development thing.
Literally the Arrested Development thing.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's actually insane.
Legit.
But if you think about it, like someone who's just like super gorgeous, like
Yeah.
just got the pretty privilege.
Dad said younger sister deserves to share my salary and home with me for the rest of her life since I'm the older sibling. Younger sister has always wanted to go to an expensive holiday destination, and dad wanted me to 100% fund her, saying that as the older sibling, it's my duty to pay her way. We had a big fight because I know younger sister can and should work. I would care for her if she was disabled or severely special needs. It's not possible to pick a job where your boss never tells you you're wrong. I told my parents I would not take a single cent of inheritance from them so they could give it to younger sister since she needs it more. But it's not enough. They say I'm being evil, cruel, mean-spirited. Family is everything, and I owe it all to family. So, am I the a-hole? I want to know what y'all think.
Yep.
Please put it in the comments. If you have a situation where you're taking care of like a sibling that's special needs, like how do you manage it or go about it?
Yeah, definitely. If
'Cause I'm
anyone's
sure
doing
that's-
that,
yeah.
share your experience.
I mean, that's like a really tough situation.
Of course.
And it's like, there's not really a right answer.
No.
John, can you please give me the right answer?
Of course, yeah. Let me just state facts from my opinions. No. Yeah, man. I mean, first off, the parents didn't acknowledge it until she was so far into her adulthood.
That's insane.
Then
to
had
me.
a complete 180.
Yeah. Well, the fact that they didn't realize until she was 35 or like 32 or whatever means that it must have not been that bad. So the fact that they're saying, oh, you have to take care of her now because she's so severely, that doesn't track.
It's so ridiculous. And like 100% paying for a fancy vacation. And he even gave him a solution. Give her 100% of the inheritance.
I know. That's actually really, really nice.
That's a smart thing to consider. But they're just like, no, you still have to split your salary?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And also, I mean, like, I think a lot of people would help their siblings for sure.
Totally.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But it's also way more the responsibility of the people that decided to have a second child.
Bingo.
Rather than the person that was just there first because of the decision of the parents. It ultimately, like, he was not the one that made the choice that saddled him with this responsibility. My whole marriage is a lie, and I think my family might have found out the truth. So this is going to be extremely weird. Me and my husband met in college, and we're part of a tight-knit friend circle of 4 people whom we are still friends with to this day. So due to personal reasons that I won't dive into, my husband asked me for marriage. It was supposed to be just a paper marriage, nothing emotional, which we had decided to end after some years. Maybe it was like a green card marriage or something.
Okay.
It was perfect for me because we all belong to a South Asian country where women are expected to get married at a young age, and I had pressure from my family, so I did it and got to work on my career like I've always wanted. We were supposed to get a divorce after 3 years, and only our friends knew the truth about our marriage. That it was a lie. After only a year, my husband's sister and her husband died in an accident, and their children, a boy of 7 and a girl of 10, had no one besides us.
Oh my goodness.
My husband does have a brother, but we were clearly a good option for the children, and we genuinely wanted to take care of them. And I just fell in love with the kids and being a mother to them. They were so young when we had them, and we just couldn't go through the divorce because it would have been traumatizing for the kids who were just starting to adjust. And plus, I didn't have a really great relationship with my husband, and I think we got comfortable with just the idea of what we had as a family. So we just kind of got stuck. It's been 7 years now, and we never consummated our marriage and have no romantic relationship at all and don't intend to.
Wow.
That is an odd situation. His mom found out about that through our friend's parents, who apparently knew, and she is extremely disappointed in us.
Oh.
Bro, keep the secret in the friend group. She wants him to have a real marriage and have true kids of his own. If we are not willing to do that, then we need to end this marriage and find our true partners. Which, like, I understand from the mom's point of view, where it's just like, you should find the people that you really love
Find
instead
the
of
true
have this
partner.
like sham of a marriage. After us rejecting that and telling her she gets to play her part of being a grandmother, she went insane and told everyone in the family, and we are getting a lot of heat from the people. So, am I the a-hole? There is an edit, but John, what do you think?
I do not think that OP is the a-hole, although there is probably some sort of credibility to the point of, hey, why not go out and find your true life partner? Totally understand that she's grown comfortable. And I mean, hey, every person's different. Maybe this is a nice situation for them, but just by finding another partner doesn't mean they can't co-parent the children.
I don't know. What do you guys do? There's an update though.
Let's get into it.
Extremely overwhelmed by the responses here. I guess when we started living together, we just saw how easy it was for us. We have talked about our arrangement. We just decided that this works well for both of us. We have good communication and mutual respect, and we don't need anything other than that. The reason for making this post was that his mother told the relatives recently, and I didn't know how to respond. I've decided to just agree that yes, my marriage started out that way, but we are truly a couple now, and we don't need to share details with anyone else. The reason our friends knew about this arrangement was because they helped set it up, but I'll be more careful now. We'll update you guys after this mess gets sorted. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful for everyone's advice. Wow. I mean, my real question is, like, are they boning people on the side?
I feel like that was the undertone of
I thought they weren't.
because there's many people who do platonic life partnerships where they're just like, hey, we get along well. We don't have romantic interest, but we're just like married for all of the other reasons. We have good like chemistry. It's good to go through life with a partner, and they just have a platonic life partnership.
I would do that with my childhood best friend and current roommate.
Ooh,
Christian.
Hey, shout out.
I could. Well, I've literally already talked to him about buying a house together. So
We also need to, in our green screen studio, we need to do an homage to have Christian's feet on a bed. If there's OG OKOP fans, they will remember that Christian was like sleeping in the background on a few very early OKOP episodes.
Yeah,
We'll have to make an homage.
Frickin' back, man.
I refuse to let the kids ride the ponies, but now the Karen moms are about to raise hell.
Ponies? That's what I eat for dinner.
First point, I do not hate kids. That point makes me think that you hate kids.
That it does.
If I did want to hurt them, I would wish the exact opposite.
I think you want to hurt kids.
Number 2, I have unblocked all of the families involved and sent them a pretty long message calmly explaining what had happened and what my concerns were. I also included a link to a child falling off of a horse the same size as mine, explaining that I don't want any kids to face injury, disability, or passing. The response has been very, very positive. Third, I have reached out to the family of the birthday girl and explained what happened. They were mortified as they had no idea I hadn't given permission. I have set up a meet the horsey for this weekend with the landowner's permission. We're setting up an arena with temporary fencing, etc. She doesn't know it, but there will be 2 ponies from hire there for pony rides for her and her friends.
Sounds like it's gonna be freaking lit, bro.
And now we get to the real juice that we've been waiting for.
I love juice. Pony juice comes out of one nozzle.
I, female 43, have owned a horse for over 20 years after rescuing her from a knackery as a 4-month-old foal.
What's a knackery?
Knackeries are premise used in slaughtering animals for food. Oh my.
Oh
okay.
no, so they really do be eating ponies.
Dang. Okay.
All right.
I help her in a huge field 24/7 with the other horses, and she is the absolute apple of my eye. I don't mind people saying hi to her over the fence. We live in the suburbs, so obviously it's going to happen. What I hate is how my mother keeps offering her friends' grandkids pony rides. Ah, now I see where the ending is connecting.
Yeah.
Neither my horse or I are kid people.
I love how like the pony hates kids too.
I'm sick of showing up at the property to be met by a gaggle of kids expecting a pony ride. I've laid down the law and I've told my mom no more.
No more pony rides, Mom.
My mom exploded at me, but I've stayed firm. So I spoke to the property owner because I worry my mom will just start showing up and try to give the kids a pony ride without my supervision. Oh my God.
Well, I guess it's a liability.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like OP being like, all right, you can get on the pony, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to supervise this.
I'll supervise. The landowner agreed that it is a liability and has marked her as not allowed on the property without me there.
Oh,
Her own mother.
dang. Her mother is a liability.
Oh my gosh. Yesterday, he called me saying that she was there with 12 children.
Is she having like a pony
12.
business?
Yeah, she's definitely running a black market pony riding
ring,
business.
yeah.
Like, God, like 12.
That's a lot.
That is like a children's birthday party.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be some sort of compensation going on if there isn't. You know, Sam, some things out there are shrimpy wimpy.
I hate shrimpy under the sea animals
Other things are top dog.
like dolphins.
Like dolphins.
You know what also reminds me of like the shrimp of the world? Most nicotine products.
Terrible for you.
Gets your teeth all dirty.
Lucy is the nicotine alternative, y'all.
If you're an adult and like the occasional nicotine product, there is a better option for you. Actually, the best option, and that's Lucy.
Good alternative. You're in the office.
Pop a little pouch.
That's right. A little icebreaker to break that ice. And you know, they got espresso, they got apple cider, mango. They got some fun flavors going on over there.
But it's only if you're a freaking adult.
That's right. And Sam, we got a deal. Viewers get 20% off when they order from Lucy.co and use the promo code OKOP.
Go to lucy.co. That's lucy.co and use promo code OKOP for your discount.
Remember, Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product does contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Let's get back to the show. And she's going off her rocker because he won't allow her on the property. I spoke to her on his phone and told her to bugger off and never try this rubbish again.
I feel like she's like, dude, but I'm out. People have already paid me $500 for this pony ride party.
Like, I've already put this $5,000 into my new kitchen, so
come on, I gotta pay for this somehow.
Pony. This new nose ain't paying for itself, sweetheart. Since then, I've had to block her and most of my family because OMG, the flying monkeys and screaming about how I'm overprivileged, selfish, and a child-hating monster. I don't think I was wrong, but it's starting to get to me. Was I the a-hole? Interesting one. Ladies and gentlemen, please say in the comments whether you think OP is the a-hole or not. And the mom, a-hole or not. What do you think?
Oh, not a-hole. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's a liability. Like, as much as I want to say OP is a child-hating monster because it's funny, nah, dude, it's like you could hurt a child and then you're liable for like $1 million if they die or like, you know, that's no, you don't want that on your hands.
Yeah, I think like it's so funny because like I feel like OP just really does not like children, which does not help her case. But the fact of the matter is she's just trying to like avoid any like dangerous issues.
Yeah. Also thought people who don't like children have forgotten what it is like to be a child. Hot take.
It's a good take.
Yeah.
I like it.
You gotta have empathy.
Today I made the biggest F up of my life, saving a child. Obligatory, this happened a few years back, but I was reminded of it by something I saw today. To understand the story, you have to know a little bit about me. I grew up on a farm on the border of Kentucky and Illinois.
Nice.
My father was a farmer and a preacher who instilled into me a powerful belief that I should never, ever shy away from helping someone, even at the risk of my own life or injury. I'm also 6'3", 300 pounds, and move quite well for a man my size.
Damn, man,
you know
you take a lot of bullets. That's what I'm hearing.
I had just taken a job working on Michigan Avenue in Chicago.
Too many states.
Too many.
Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan.
And it was one of my first times walking up the magical mile from the metro station. I had not been in the city long, and I was still a bit awed by the sheer number of people and the wonder of the skyline. As I was approaching a busy intersection, I took my eyes off of the tops of the buildings and started to scan the street to see if I can cross. For those of you who haven't been a pedestrian commuter of Michigan Avenue, you must understand how important and critical it is to be vigilant, even at a light-protected crosswalk.
I agree with that.
Danger from every corner.
There's some crazy drivers out there.
As I waited, I saw a child who looked to be the size of about a second grader with a backpack standing precariously close to the street with just about 20 feet before he got to the crossing. Something in the back of my head was screaming, "This child is going to step into the street!" As I watched in horror, the nagging voice provoked me to be right there as the kid jumped off the curve and started running across 6 lanes of busy traffic.
Dang.
So this little second grader trying to play Frogger out here.
Zero.
Instinct kicked in as I took off in pursuit, closing the distance between me and the kid in a matter of steps and sweeping the child up into my arms before sprinting right back to the curb. I spoke softly to the child, tucked under my arm like a sack of feed as I returned us to safety.
A sack of feed?
I guess he's just like his farmer days, you know, just an
old
old bag of feed for old Bessie.
Back on the farm.
I said to the child, "Hold on, buddy. I got you."
It's weird.
To which a man's voice replied, "What the F are you doing, asshole?"
Oh no.
Shocked,
Oh no.
I dropped him down onto the sidewalk and twisted around, only to be greeted by what I thought was a child, but was a man with bushy salt and pepper goatee. In other words, TLDR, I carried a person with dwarfism back to the sidewalk as they tried to jaywalk across Michigan Avenue.
And that's why you never jaywalk across Michigan Avenue if you're under 5 foot.
That's why you don't pick up random children trying to be a hero. Well, here's my question to all of you and to Sam. Throw your response in the comments. Was OP the a-hole? Was it good intentions but wrong action here?
I think OP is a hero.
Yep.
Honestly, because he's trying to do good, and we want people who can do more good. I don't think the best way to do good is to randomly just pick up like small people and put them and deposit them on sidewalks. Like, even if that was a child jaywalking across the street, I mean, they probably could have made it. Unless, like, did this guy actually save this little person from getting hit? Probably not.
He's an adult, so he's like, I just want to cross.
If you saw a second grader running across the street,
I'm walking out to stop the cars. That would probably be my like I would like start walking and like holding my hands out like, yo,
are you walking too? Like, what if you're on the sidewalk?
If it's a second grader, yes.
But yeah, what would you do? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.